Oh wow, the 100th Bronny James highlight. Never gets old. Wait, isn't the NBA 2025 draft happening soon? Let me check out who the top picks are. Oh, I know Cooper Flag. Wait, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Con Canupo? I have literally no idea who these players are. While Instagram Reels and TikTok might be great for entertaining yourself, they often fall into the trap of optimizing for engagement. This means that they're more likely to recommend videos that will make you like or comment rather than the actual best sports discourse of sometimes smaller accounts. What if there's a way to enjoy everything about the NBA? No distractions, no ads, just basketball. This sounded like a great web development project for me, so I got started. My first vision of the website actually didn't include any videos at all. It was supposed to be a way for you to track the fantasy points of any player live during their games, sort of like ESPN's Fantasy Cast, but for any player throughout any game rather than the ones just on your fantasy team. It also allowed you to input your own point values so people who weren't using ESPN's fantasy platform could still use it as well. It was pretty simple. NBA API provided the stats, React was the base, and this version was done in only a few days. However, I realized that if I were to publish this, then the API would probably shut down all my requests pretty quickly. I was already going over the rate limit with just one instance, but if I were to have multiple of them running at the same time, then it would definitely get shut down. Even if I ran it on just the front end, I had another issue. The NBA API just changed the order of the games that it returned whenever it wanted. It also would switch between showing the current score to the score at the end of the last quarter, which meant that someone watching the scoreboard could actually see it go down sometimes. I then decided to create a script that used the API to update a Firebase real-time database and call for updates from the Firebase every time I needed them. Updating the Firebase would only happen if the time was greater than or equal to the current value, fixing these errors. This actually worked pretty well, creating a real-time scoreboard. This worked for all matches that were going on in the NBA at the time. I actually realized around this point that all the work that I had done was basically pointless anyways. Yeah, it provides a small benefit, but that's only to people who are actively tracking the fantasy stats of people that aren't even on their team. It's a very small audience of people that would benefit from this. It was then that I realized the problem in the introduction. So instead of making the lives of fantasy basketball nerds slightly easier, what if I decided to tackle a problem that affects every NBA fan? The issue that I find with platforms like Instagram Reels is that while they're funny, it's kind of hard to train the algorithm to let you learn more about a certain topic. Especially with March Madness having just finished and the NBA draft coming up, I found out that I really have no idea who the top picks are. This is why I created a short video platform that feeds you nothing but NBA news. It uses Blue Sky, which is Twitter with a free API, among other things, and searches for the top videos that were posted recently with hashtag NBA. Then creates a list of these and shows them in a vertical format. The right side has a caption as well as a link to the author, and the left side is a live scoreboard because I didn't want all the work I did before with the NBA API to go to waste. The Blue Sky API request returns an array of 50 posts. The site goes through these 50 posts trying to see if there's a video to be found. If there is, the video is added to the total lists of videos to be scrolled through, and all the other information like username, date, and caption are added to their own respective arrays as well. To ensure that the stream of videos is practically endless, I made sure that each API request had both a sint and an until date. This means that for the first API call, it searches for the top 50 posts between today and 2 days ago. Once all the videos are extracted from these posts, which is typically 2 to 3, it moves on to the top 50 posts between 2 days ago and 4 days ago. This was the best method that I found for getting the best videos, as just searching for the top 50 posts of all time would yield a very short list. As an extra measure, I made sure to compare the video's caption to the captions of all the videos shown before just to make sure that there aren't any duplicates. Once the list of videos is obtained, each video with its related info is shown in its own section tab. Each section uses the CSS scroll snap function to make sure that the viewer is always seeing the entire section. If there was no scroll snapping, then the viewer could scroll through the videos and captions like it was a document, which is a terrible experience for a short video platform. Obviously, once the viewer scrolls down to a new video, we want that video to automatically play. This is done by each section checking whether it's in view or not and then playing or pausing based on that. For the mobile version, I decided to make it look a lot like Instagram Reels. At the bottom, there's a darkened box that has the caption and username, and you can scroll through it to read it if you want. Unfortunately, there is no live scoreboard on the mobile version, but that just means that there's more space for the content. While technically the videos are still shown based on interactions, as I'm just searching for the top videos on any given day, I found that Blue Sky actually has a lot of good content, especially for the NBA. This is because with a smaller community, the actually interesting content gets pushed to the top. There are people who post old highlights, scouting breakdowns, and obviously the must-see recent plays. I actually found myself spending a lot of time on my own website just having fun, which is something that I did not expect at all. Instead of just listening to another song about LeBron, I was able to learn about the upsides and downsides of a few of the best NBA prospects. After this, I felt like the site was ready to be launched. I bought the domain name hoopsreels.com for only $6 through Namecheap. I used Vercel to host the website, making sure that it auto-deploys after every commit. To make sure that the scoreboard data is always updated, I used GitHub Actions to update the database every 5 minutes. All I had to do now was publish the changes. While this definitely was not my first React project, it was the first one where I had to deal with serving endless amounts of content like this. And while this technically was my first React project involving APIs, I felt like I learned so much through the various versions of this website that I knew way more than I needed to for the final form. This website has changed so much than what I first envisioned, but I feel like its current form is definitely the best. If you want to give it a try, then check out the link in the description or go to hoopsreels.com. The source code is also in the description, so you can build your own short video feed using your favorite hashtags if you want. There's nothing that should stop this from working for the NHL, NFL, or even something completely different like finance if you want. However, I don't know if these communities are very big on Blue Sky, so I don't know how much content there would be, but just give it a try. I'm not an expert in React by any means, so don't expect my code to be perfect, and feel free to modify it however you want. This is the first web development project that I made because I just wanted to make something cool, and I feel like I achieved my goal. Even if nobody else uses this website, at least I can when I'm bored. If you thought this was cool, then like and subscribe, and if you have any suggestions, then comment. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.